The rain fell like a punishment that night. Heavy, relentless, the kind of Lagos downpour that floods Lekki streets in minutes and turns luxury estates into muddy rivers. I sat on the porch steps. My porch. The one I'd dreamed about since I was a girl selling plantain chips outside primary school. Shivering in nothing but a thin wrapper and tank top, my handbag clutched to my chest. Behind me, the door to my house, the house I bought with my own money after 12 years of blood, sweat, and sacrifice, was locked tight. Inside, warm light glowed through the curtains. Laughter. My husband's voice, his mother's cackle. They were celebrating. "You're sleeping out here in the rain," he'd said, his eyes cold as December harmattan, "until you buy my mother a house." 12 years of marriage, 12 years of building, of believing we were partners, and that was his line in the sand. I stared at the rain pooling around my feet and thought, this is just a fight, a terrible one, sure. But marriages survive terrible fights, right? 3 days later, he was the one without a roof. But here's the thing nobody tells you about betrayal. It's not the cheating husband that cuts deepest. It's not even the manipulative mother-in-law who played you like a fool. It's the sister you raised like a daughter, the one you fed, clothed, and put through university, the one who knew everything and said nothing. If you've ever trusted the wrong person, if you've ever been stabbed in the back by family, you need to hear this story. Drop a like right now because what's coming will make you rethink everyone in your circle. But before we dive in, let me ask you this. Have you ever been betrayed by someone you trusted completely? Someone you would have done anything for? Drop a comment below and let me know. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button because we share real stories about real people facing impossible situations. Trust me, you don't want to miss what happens next. Let's rewind. Lagos, Nigeria, Victoria Island, 8 years ago. My name is Ngozi Okafor, but everyone calls me Ngo. I wasn't born rich, wasn't handed anything. At 24, I worked 3 jobs. Receptionist at a law firm from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m., makeup artist for weekend weddings, and online sales of Ankara fabrics late into the night. I slept maybe 4 hours a night, all to put myself through evening classes for my accountancy certification. My dream? Own my own business. Buy a house in cash. To never depend on anyone. Never be poor again. The Chicken Republic on Ayose Adeogun became my refuge. Cheap meals, free Wi-Fi, and a security guard named Cheeky who always made sure I got to my car safely when I worked late. Cheeky had this laugh. Deep. Genuine. The kind that made strangers smile, too. He didn't care that I looked exhausted, that my makeup had melted off by evening, that I smelled like jollof rice and determination. He'd walk me to my car during his breaks, listening to my plans, my dreams, my fears about failing. "You won't fail," he'd say, so sure of me it made my chest ache. "You're the hardest working woman I've ever met." I fell in love somewhere between the 3rd security walk and the 100th conversation about nothing and everything. We married young. Me, 26. Cheek, 27. A small ceremony at Ikoyi Registry with my younger sister, Chiamaka, as chief bridesmaid. Chiamaka was 20 then, fresh out of Polytechnic, still figuring out life. Our father had died when I was 17 and Chiamaka was 10. Our mother worked as a cleaner at a bank but could barely keep the lights on, so I became the mother Chiamaka never had, paid for her school fees, her jam forms, her first phone, a techno I bought from Computer Village after saving for 3 months. Chiamaka worshipped me. "You're my hero, big sis," she'd say, eyes shining with admiration. "When I grow up, I'm going to be just like you." I believed her. 6 years into the marriage, I did it. I bought a house in Lekki Phase 1, a 4-bedroom detached duplex with a BQ, marble floors, and a compound big enough for children someday. I paid cash. 28 million naira. Saved kobo by kobo, contract by contract, client by client. The property went solely in my name. Not because I didn't trust Cheeky, but because his salary as a supervisor barely covered his own expenses. The bank wouldn't have approved him anyway. It's our house, I assured him the day we got the keys. What's mine is yours, baby. Always. He cried on the balcony that first night, his head on my shoulder, whispering, I can't believe this is real. I can't believe you did this for us. Chiamaka was there too, helping us move in, crashing in the guest room more nights than not because she was between jobs and saving up for her own place. I didn't mind. Family helps family. Cheek loved Chiamaka like a younger sister. They'd joke in the kitchen, watch Nollywood movies together when I worked late, and the three of us felt like a unit, unbreakable. You have the best big sister in the world, Cheeky would tell Chiamaka, ruffling her hair. You know that, right? Yeah, Chiamaka would say, grinning. I know. It started small. Chica's mother, Mama Gloria, showed up one weekend with 2 Ghana must-go bags and red-rimmed eyes. She's been evicted, Chica explained, his voice tight. Her landlord increased the rent and she couldn't pay. She has nowhere to go, no. Just for a few weeks. Please. I looked at Mama Gloria. Late 50s, sharp features, perfectly done gel even in crisis, and felt that familiar pull of obligation. You help family, that's what you do. Of course, I said. Stay as long as you need. At first, Mama Gloria was helpful. Pleasant, even. She cooked incredible meals. Banga soup that made me groan with pleasure. Puff that melted in your mouth. She cleaned without being asked. Folded laundry. Watered the plants. One afternoon, I came home exhausted from a client meeting to find Mama Gloria defending me to Chike's nosy aunt on the phone. My daughter-in-law works harder than anyone I know, Mama Gloria said firmly, stirring a pot of egusi. She's a good woman. You don't know what you're talking about. I felt warmth in my chest. Maybe this wouldn't be so bad. But then the few weeks became a month, then 2, then 8. The BQ, the one I'd planned to rent out for extra income, became Mama Gloria's permanent domain. She redecorated without asking, complained the mattress hurt her back, hinted she needed a new TV for her room. The comments started small. No, you're working late again. Cheeky shouldn't have to eat dinner alone. Is this really the best estate for us? I saw armed robbers on the news near here. You know, if you'd just invested better, we wouldn't all be squeezed in here like sardines. Cheek started echoing his mother. At dinner one night, Cheeky sighed, pushing his plate away. Mama's right, you know. You work too much. We barely see you. I blinked, fork halfway to my mouth. I'm working so we can keep this house, baby, so we can build a future. Well, maybe the future needs to include my mother being comfortable too. The air in the room shifted. Chiamaka, sitting across the table, glanced between us, then down at her phone. She said nothing. It escalated. Mama Gloria's car broke down, needed 180,000 naira in repairs. Can you cover it, Ngo? Just this once, Chike asked, his hand on my arm. And eyes pleading. I covered it. Mama Gloria wanted to visit her sister in Enugu, transport, accommodation, spending money. She's been through so much, Chiki said. She deserves a break. I paid for that too. Then came the big one. Cheek sat me down one evening, laptop open to Property Pro, his mother hovering behind him like a vulture. We've been looking, Cheek said, voice careful, practiced. There's a house in Aja, 3 bedrooms, self-contained, perfect for Mama, only 15 million naira. I stared at the screen, then at my husband, then at Mama Gloria, who smiled sweetly, innocently. You want me to buy your mother a house? I said slowly. Not buy, Cheeky corrected quickly. Help with. We can work out a payment plan. Chike? We don't have 15 million naira lying around. We have savings, sure, but that's for us. Oh, for emergencies. This is an emergency! Chike's voice rose, sharp and sudden. My mother has been living in a BQ for almost a year, no? She has nothing. That's not my fault. So she's just supposed to suffer? Mama Gloria placed a hand on Cheek's shoulder, the picture of wounded dignity. It's okay, my son. I understand. Some people just don't value family the way we do. My jaw tightened. Chamaka was in the guest room, her usual spot now, looking for work, but mostly on Instagram and borrowing money I never asked to be repaid. She heard everything through the walls. She said nothing. The arguments became nightly. You're being selfish. I'm being realistic. If you loved me, you'd make sure my mother was taken care of. I do love you, and that's why I'm trying to protect what we've built. Mama Gloria would chime in from the corridor, voice dripping with false concern. I just don't want to be a burden, no. If I'm such a problem, I can leave. But she never did. Chaik started withholding affection. No kisses, no touches, no conversation. He moved to the guest room with his mother, leaving me alone in our bed. Chamaka still came and went, borrowing my car, eating my food, playing neutral party. You okay, sis? She'd ask, voice full of concern that never quite reached her eyes. Yeah, I'd lie. Just a rough patch. Marriage stress, you know. But you're doing everything right. He'll come around. I wanted to believe her. February 14th, Valentine's Day. I came home with a gift, a new wristwatch, Chaik's favorite brand, and a reservation at Ocean Basket on the island. A cheeky met me at the door, arms crossed, his mother standing behind him like a sentinel. We need to talk, Cheeky said. No greeting, no acknowledgement of the gift. My stomach dropped. We sat in the living room, me on the couch, Cheek and Mama Gloria across from me like a tribunal. I've made a decision, Cheek said, voice cold and rehearsed. Either you buy my mother a house by the end of the month or we're done. I laughed. Actually laughed. Because it was so absurd. You're serious? Completely. Chaik, that's insane. That's not how marriage works. This is how our marriage works, he screamed, and I flinched. Mama Gloria smiled. You have 2 weeks, Cheek continued, calmer now, colder. Figure it out. That night, a storm hit Lagos. Rain fell in thick, heavy sheets, flooding the estate streets, and I tried to reason with him one more time. Baby, please, let's talk about this. We can find another way. There is no other way. He grabbed my handbag, my phone charger, threw them at me. Get out, Ngozi, get out. His voice was ice. Sleep in the rain until you change your mind. He shoved me toward the door. Mama Gloria watched from the kitchen, sipping tea, utterly unbothered. I stood on the porch, rain already soaking through my clothes, staring at the locked door of my own house. Inside, I could hear them laughing. I sat in my car, engine running for warmth, breath fogging the windshield, and wondered how 12 years had come to this. What happens next? Ngozi discovers the truth about what's really been happening in her house, and it's worse than she ever imagined. And the Genesis Hotel on Ozumba Mbadiwe smelled like air freshener and broken dreams. I checked in with my handbag, my phone at 12% battery, and a hollowness in my chest that felt like drowning on dry land. Room 304, 3rd floor, view of the lagoon. I sat on the edge of the bed, still in my rain-soaked clothes, and stared at my phone. 37 messages from Cheek. You're being dramatic. This is ridiculous. Come home, no. Freeze out there, see if I care. Not one apology, not one moment of maybe I went too far. I scrolled through our photos. Our wedding day, me in a white dress from Balogan Market. Him in a suit his cousin lent him, both of us grinning like we'd won the lottery. Our first Christmas in the house. Last Easter's small chops party with Chiamaka taking selfies everywhere. When did it all turn to poison? And I almost went back. Almost. My thumb hovered over his contact. One call, one apology. Maybe we could fix this. Then my phone buzzed. A notification from our shared Google Drive, the one we'd set up years ago for business documents, house papers, family photos. Someone had just uploaded a new folder titled Mama's House Budget. My stomach twisted. I clicked. The folder was full of spreadsheets, budget breakdowns, property pro listings, real estate agent contacts. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was the screenshots, text messages, dozens of them, between cheek and a number saved as Aday's M. I didn't recognize the name. I opened the first screenshot. Aday's M. When are you telling her? Cheek. Soon. I just need to play this right. She's stubborn, but she'll cave. She always does. Aday's M. And after? After we get the house for Mama? Cheek. After I file. Quick divorce. We sell the Lecky property. Split the profit. You and I can finally stop hiding. My vision blurred. I scrolled. Cheek. She doesn't suspect a thing. She's too busy working herself to death to notice. Aday's M. You deserve better than her, babe. Someone who actually values you. Chike. I know. Soon. The messages went back months, September, October, November. All while he was sleeping in my house, eating my food, demanding I buy his mother a home. All while he was planning to destroy me. My hand shook so badly I almost dropped the phone. But I kept scrolling. And then I found a group chat. Operation Fresh Start, participants. Chike, Mama Gloria, and a third number. Chamaka, my sister, my baby sister, the one I'd raised, fed, clothed, loved. I opened the thread, and the room started spinning. Cheek, October 15th. Ngo is being impossible about the house. She won't budge. Mama Gloria, October 15th. You need to push harder. Make her feel guilty. She's weak for you. Cheek, October 15th. I'm trying. She's just so stubborn. Chiamaka, October 15th. She'll cave. She always does. Just keep the pressure on, bro. My breath caught. Chiamaka called him bro. I kept reading. Chike, November 8th. I think I need to see Aday's again. Ngo is starting to ask questions about where I go on Thursday nights. Chiamaka, November 8th. Do what you gotta do. Your happiness matters more than her feelings. Chike, November 10th. Chiamaka, you won't tell her, right? About Adaizi? Chiamaka, November 10th. Your secret's safe with me. Sisters before, well, you know. But your family, too. I got you. I sat there, phone in my lap, tears streaming down my face. Chiamaka knew for months. Chiamaka knew about the affair, about the plan to manipulate me, drain me, and leave me with nothing. And she said nothing. The sister I'd sacrificed for, the sister I put through Polytechnic, bought clothes for, let live rent-free in my guest room, the sister who called me hero. My chest felt like it was caving in. There was more. A side thread, just Cheek and Chiamaka. Chike, January 30. I'm kicking her out tonight. Rain's perfect. She'll come crawling back by morning. Chiamaka, January 30. Probably. She's soft like that. Cheek, January 30. If she doesn't, I'll just cry and she'll fold. She always folds. Chiamaka, January 30. Don't worry. She'll buy the house. She loves you too much not to. Chike, January 30. I know. God, I can't wait to be done with this. Oda Daisy is already looking at flats for us in Ikoyi. Chiamaka, January 30. You deserve it, bro. Ngo is a good person, but she's boring. You need someone who gets you. Chike, January 30. Thank you for having my back through all this. You're the best. Chiamaka, January 30. Always, family first. I dropped the phone. I sat there in that ugly hotel room, rain still falling outside, and I let myself break. I sobbed. Deep, ugly, guttural sobs that came from somewhere primal and wounded. Not for Chike. He was dead to me now. But for Chiamaka. For the little girl I tucked into bed when our father died. For the teenager I taught to braid her hair, to cook, to be strong. For the sister I'd have taken a bullet for. You're my hero, big sis. The words echoed in my head, mocking me. And then, in the silence of that hotel room, and something inside me hardened, turned to steel, cold, sharp, unbreakable. I picked up my phone, wiped my face, and made a call. Go. It's almost midnight. What's wrong? Barrister Adebayo was my lawyer, a sharp, no-nonsense attorney I'd retained 2 years ago when my business started taking off. I need you to do something for me, I said, my voice eerily calm. Tomorrow morning. First thing. Okay. What are we talking about? Divorce papers, asset protection, emergency eviction. Silence on the other end. No, what happened? He's been cheating for months, planning to manipulate me into buying his mother a house, then divorcing me and splitting the profit with his girlfriend. My sister knew the whole time and didn't tell me. Barrister Adebayo swore softly in Yoruba. Mogby, no, don't be sorry. Just tell me we can get him out of my house. Your name's on the property deed, solely. He's been paying rent, utilities, contributing financially? Not a kobo. Then yes, we can file an emergency eviction for non-tenant occupancy. He has no legal right to stay. I can have the papers ready by noon tomorrow. Do it. What about joint accounts, savings? Everything's joint. Can we freeze them? Transfer them to a sole account? Yes. He'll have access to nothing until the divorce is finalized. We'll file for divorce citing adultery. In Nigeria, that affects asset division heavily in your favor. I closed my eyes, breathed. How long until he's out? With an emergency court order? 3 days? Maybe 4? Make it 3. You got it, no. You're doing the right thing. Don't let anyone tell you different. I hung up, and I ordered suya from a nearby spot. Ate every stick, took a hot shower, let the water wash away the tears, the pain, the years of being too soft, too giving, too naive. And when I climbed into bed that night, I slept better than I had in months. 6 a.m. My phone lit up. 22 missed calls, 39 texts, all from Cheek. Babe, come home. I'm sorry. We can talk about this. You're being childish. Answer me. I deleted them without reading past the previews. By 9 a.m., the bank accounts were frozen and transferred. By noon, divorce papers were drafted. By 2 p.m., the eviction notice was filed with the Lagos High Court. I sat in Barrister Adebayo's office in Ikeja, signing document after document, my hand steady as stone. He's going to lose his mind, the lawyer warned. Good, I said. 4 p.m. But Chike's text turned desperate. No, I can't access our account. What's going on? Did you do something? Call me right now. I blocked his number. Then Chiamaka called. I stared at the screen. My sister's face smiled up at me from the contact photo, an old picture from her Polytechnic graduation. Arm around me, both of us grinning. The call rang out. Chiamaka left a voicemail. Sis, hey, Cheek's freaking out. He said you froze the accounts. Come on, sis. Let's talk, okay? You know I'm always on your side. Call me back. I listened to the voicemail, then deleted it, and blocked Chiamaka's number too. Cheek's world started crumbling fast. I didn't have to imagine it. I had friends, people still loyal to me. Word got back. He tried to withdraw cash from the ATM. Declined. Tried to buy fuel. Card declined. I called the bank. They informed him the account had been legally transferred to sole ownership pending divorce proceedings. He screamed at the poor customer service rep until they hung up on him. Mama Gloria, predictably, blamed Chike. I told you to push harder. Now look what you've done, Chike called Adaze, his wealthy girlfriend, his escape plan. She didn't answer. He called again. Straight to voicemail. Desperate, he drove to her flat in Ikoyi. A man answered the door. Mid-40s, well-dressed, wearing a wedding ring. Can I help you? The man asked. Cheek's face went white. I'm looking for Adiz. My wife's not available. Who are you? Cheek ran. Turns out Adiz wasn't a rich single girlfriend ready to whisk him away. She was a married woman who'd been stringing him along for months, promising a future that never existed. And now that my money was off the table, a daze wanted nothing to do with him. She blocked his number that night. Chiamaka tried again. This time, she showed up at my hotel. I opened the door to find my sister standing there, hands clasped together, looking guilty and desperate. "Sis, come on, let me in. Let's talk." I stared at her. This person who looked like my sister, sounded like my sister, but wasn't, not anymore. "You knew," I said quietly. Chiamaka's face crumpled. "Sis, for months, you knew he was cheating. You knew he was using me. And you said nothing. I didn't know what to do. He's family too, you know. I fed you, clothed you, paid for your school, let you live in my house, rent-free. And when you found out my husband was destroying me, you chose him. Sis, please, don't call me that." My voice was still calm, terrifyingly calm. "You're not my sister anymore." I closed the door. Chiamaka pounded on it, voice breaking. Ngo, I'm sorry. I turned up the TV and never opened the door. What happens next? The eviction day arrives, and Chiki and his family face the consequences of their greed. February 17th, 10:47 a.m. The doorbell rang at the house in Lekki Phase 1. Cheek answered, hair uncombed, eyes red from lack of sleep. 2 police officers stood on the porch. Behind them, a court bailiff with a clipboard. "Mr. Chike Okonkwo?" the bailiff asked. "Yes?" "You've been served." He handed Cheek a thick brown envelope. Eviction notice, divorce petition, asset freeze documentation. Chike stared at the papers like they were written in a foreign language. "What? What is this?" "Sir, you have 45 minutes to gather your belongings and vacate the property. This residence is solely owned by Mrs. Ngozi Okafor Okonkwo. You have no legal tenancy rights." "What?" Chiki's voice cracked. "This is my house." "Sir," the bailiff said firmly, "according to the property deed filed with the Lagos State Land Registry, this property is solely owned by Mrs. Ngozi Okafor. Your name does not appear anywhere on the title. You need to leave now, or these officers will escort you out." Mama Gloria appeared behind Chika, wrapper tied hastily around her waist, face pale. "You can't do this!" she shrieked. "My son lives here. We have rights." "Ma'am," one of the police officers said, stepping forward, "I suggest you start packing." They scrambled. 45 minutes to pack up a year of entitlement, manipulation, and then lies. Clothes shoved into Ghana must-go bags. Toiletries spilling across the bathroom counter. Mama Gloria screaming about lawyers and injustice while the officers stood unmoved at the door. Chike kept calling my number. Blocked. He called Chiamaka. She didn't answer. She was probably trying to call me too. He tried to take the flat-screen TV from the living room. "Sir, that stays," the bailiff said. "Only personal belongings. Everything else is Mrs. Okafor's property." "She bought that TV for me. Do you have a receipt proving ownership?" Cheek's face went red. He had nothing. I'd bought everything in this house. Every chair, every plate, every light bulb. At 11:33 a.m., Cheek and Mama Gloria stood on the street outside the estate gate, surrounded by hastily packed bags. The locks had already been changed. Cheeky pulled out his phone with shaking hands. "Call Ngo," Mama Gloria hissed. He did. I answered on the 3rd ring. "Ngo, please." His voice was broken, desperate. "Please, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Just let us back in. We can fix this." I was sitting in a cafe in Lekki Phase 1, less than 5 minutes from the house, sipping cappuccino, watching everything unfold through the security cameras I'd had installed months ago. "You wanted someone out in the rain, Cheek," I said, my voice ice. Calm, final. "Enjoy the weather." Click. He stared at his phone, mouth open, while his mother stood beside him in stunned silence. Neighbors peeked through windows. A few took photos. One girl even went live on Instagram. By noon, Cheeky and Mama Gloria were loading bags into an Uber, headed to Mama Gloria's one-room apartment in Ajagunle, and the place she'd been so desperate to escape. The place with no running water most days and a landlord who knocked on the door every week demanding rent. The fallout was swift and brutal. Mama Gloria moved back into her cramped apartment in Ajagunle, the one with the leaky ceiling and the neighbor who sold fish on the balcony. The smell never left. She complained loudly to anyone who'd listen. "My ungrateful daughter-in-law threw us out. Can you believe it? After everything I did for her." But people knew. Word spreads fast in Lagos, especially when there's a juicy story about greed and betrayal, and nobody offered her a couch. Cheek bounced between friends' couches for 2 weeks before they all got tired of his excuses and drama. "Guy, you need to sort yourself out," his friend Tunde told him on day 15. "I can't keep housing you. My wife is vexing." Chike ended up back with his mother, sleeping on a thin mattress on the floor of her one room, sharing a bathroom with 12 other tenants. He scrolled through Instagram every night, looking at photos of the house he'd lost, the house I'd worked for, the house he'd thrown away for greed, the divorce finalized in 6 months. I kept the house, the business, the car, everything. Cheek got nothing. Adultery-based divorce in Nigeria doesn't look kindly on cheaters, especially when there's evidence, screenshots, witnesses, a clear paper trail. Barrister Adebayo made sure of that. Adaizi's life imploded too. I'd taken screenshots of everything, every text, every plan, every lie. I sent them anonymously to her husband, from a burner email account, like with a simple subject line, "You deserve to know the truth." He filed for divorce the next week, froze her accounts, filed for custody of their 2 children, kicked her out of their Banana Island apartment. Last I heard, Adaizi was living with her sister in Surulere, working as a salesgirl in a boutique on Allen Avenue, her designer bags and luxury lifestyle gone. Cheeky tried to reach out to her. She blocked him. Turns out when the money dries up, so does the love. Chiamaka tried reaching out a few more times. Emails, texts from new numbers, even a handwritten letter slipped under my hotel room door before I checked out. "Sis, I made a mistake. I'm sorry. You're my sister, my blood. Please, we can fix this. I love you." I never responded. And I heard through mutual friends that Chiamaka had blown through the money I'd been sending her monthly, lost her sales job for showing up late too many times, was now begging old friends for loans. Nobody gave her any. When you burn your bridges with the one person who'd have walked through fire for you, people notice. And they remember. 3 months later, I sold the Lekki house. Too many ghosts. Too many memories of the people who'd tried to destroy me. I bought a penthouse in Ikoyi. Modern, minimalist, floor-to-ceiling windows with a view of Falomo Bridge and the lagoon. My business exploded. Turns out when you're not emotionally drained by manipulative family members, you can actually focus. I hired a team, landed contracts with multinational companies, built a reputation for excellence and integrity. I traveled Dubai, Zanzibar, Cape Town, South Africa. Places Cheeky had always said were too expensive or not worth it. I hiked Table Mountain. I swam in the Indian Ocean. I ate at rooftop restaurants and watched sunsets that made me cry. I healed. And one day at a business conference in Abuja, a man with kind eyes and a genuine smile asked if the seat beside me was taken. His name was Emeka. He was an architect, loved traveling, laughed at my terrible jokes. He didn't ask for anything, didn't play games, didn't come with a scheming mother or a checklist of demands. He just liked me. For me, I didn't rush it. But for the first time in years, I felt something that wasn't pain. I felt hope, not the naive hope of my 20s, but the earned, cautious, hard-won hope of a woman who'd been burned and survived. 1 year later, I stood in my Ikoyi penthouse, our coffee in hand, watching the sun rise over the lagoon. My phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. I almost deleted it. But curiosity got the better of me. It was Cheek. I saw your picture on Instagram. You look happy. I'm sorry for everything. I hope you can forgive me someday. I still love you. I read it twice. Felt nothing. No anger, no bitterness. Just a quiet, peaceful indifference. I didn't respond. I simply blocked the number, set my phone down, and went back to watching the sunrise. Because here's the thing about revenge. Real revenge isn't loud. It isn't cruel. It's living well. It's waking up in a home you own, with peace you built, next to someone who actually values you. It's knowing the people who tried to break you are still stuck in the mess they created. I didn't put Chike out in the rain. He just finally felt the storm he'd been creating for me all along. And me? I was warm, safe, free. Now pause for a second. If you're watching this and you've ever felt trapped in a toxic relationship, whether it's marriage, family, or friendship, let me know in the comments. What would you have done in Ngozi's position? Would you have fought back, or would you have walked away quietly? And listen, if you're enjoying this story, please hit that like button. It really helps us bring you more stories like this. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? We post new stories every week about real people, real drama, and real justice. Don't miss out. But hold on, because this story isn't over yet. What Ngozi doesn't know is that there's a much bigger secret hiding in plain sight. And when she discovers it, and everything changes. What happens next? The aftermath. How Ngozi's life transformed completely, and the final twisted turn nobody saw coming. 18 months after the divorce. Life had become beautiful in ways I'd forgotten were possible. My business, NGO Consulting, had grown beyond my wildest dreams. 3 employees. An office in Victoria Island with glass walls and motivational quotes I actually believed in. Contracts with companies that once seemed untouchable. Amika and I were taking things slow, steady. He'd met my mother, the real test, and she'd approved. "This one has sense," she'd said in Igbo, squeezing my hand. "Not like that useless cheeky." I was happy, genuinely, peacefully happy. And then my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. "Hello?" Heavy breathing on the other end. Then a voice I hadn't heard in over a year. "Ngo, it's me, Chiamaka." My chest tightened. "How did you get this number?" I begged one of your old clients. "Ngo, please, don't hang up. I need to tell you something. It's about Chiki and Mama Gloria. You need to know the truth." "I already know the truth, Chiamaka. I have the screenshots, the messages, everything." "No." Her voice cracked. "You don't know everything. Please, can we meet? Just for 5 minutes. There's something I need to tell you face to face." I should have said no, should have hung up. But curiosity has always been my weakness. "One coffee?" I said. "That's it." We met at a small cafe in Yaba. Neutral ground, a place neither of us had history. Chiamaka looked terrible, thin, exhausted. Her hair, once always perfectly styled, was pulled back in a messy bun, dark circles under her eyes. She sat across from me, hands wrapped around a cup of tea she hadn't touched. "Thank you for coming," she said quietly. I said nothing, just waited. "I'm not here to beg for forgiveness," she started. "I know I don't deserve it. What I did, there's no excuse. I betrayed you, and I've paid for it. Lost my job, my friends, my dignity. I'm living with Mama now in Oshodi, selling recharge cards on the street." I felt a flicker of something. Not quite pity, but not satisfaction either. "I'm sorry for what you're going through," I said carefully, "but that's not my problem anymore." "I know." She looked up at me and I saw genuine fear in her eyes. "But there's something you need to know, something that changes everything." "What?" Chiamaka took a deep breath. Mama Gloria. She's not who you think she is. I frowned. What do you mean? Her real name isn't Gloria Okonkwo. It's Gloria Nwosu. She was married before, to a man named Festus. They had a son together. Cheek? No. Chiamaka's voice dropped to a whisper. Cheek isn't her biological son. The cafe seemed to go quiet around us. What are you talking about? Cheek's real mother died when he was 3 years old. Mama Gloria was her friend. She took Cheek, raised him as her own, but she's not his real mother. I stared at her. How do you know this? She told me. One night when she was drunk on Kai Kai, she was ranting about how ungrateful Cheek was, how she'd sacrificed everything for a child who wasn't even hers. I thought she was just talking nonsense, but then I started digging. Chiamaka pulled out her phone. Showed me a series of documents, birth certificates, marriage certificates, death records. Gloria Nwosu married Festus Nwosu in 1995. No children from that marriage. Festus died in 2003. Chike Okonkwo, born in 1997, to Patricia Okonkwo and Michael Okonkwo. Both deceased. My head spun. Why would she lie? Money, Chiamaka said simply. Cheek's real father, Michael, left him a property in Ikoyi when he died. A massive house, worth over 100 million naira now. But Cheeky doesn't know about it. Mama Gloria has been collecting rent on that property for years, keeping it all for herself. That's impossible. Cheek would have to sign documents, property papers. She forged his signature. I saw the documents. She's been doing it for years. I sat back in my chair, mind racing. Why are you telling me this? Chiamaka's eyes filled with tears. Because Cheeky is planning something bad, and you need to protect yourself. What do you mean? 2 weeks ago, I overheard him talking to Mama Gloria. They're planning to contest your divorce, claim that the Lekki house should have been joint property, that you defrauded him. They're going to sue you for half of everything you own. My blood ran cold. They can't do that. The house was solely in my name. We had a prenup. They're going to claim you coerced him into signing it, that he was under duress. Mama Gloria has already hired a lawyer. Some shady guy in Surulere who specializes in dirty tactics. I felt the anger rising in my chest like lava. After everything they did, they're coming after me again? Yes, and there's more. Chiamaka leaned forward. Mama Gloria is dying. I blinked. What? Liver disease. She's been sick for months. The doctors give her maybe 6 months, and she wants to make sure Cheeky gets everything before she dies, including your money. I sat there in stunned silence. Everything I'd thought I knew, everything I'd survived, was just the beginning. Why are you helping me? I finally asked. After everything? Chiamaka wiped her eyes. Because I'm tired of lying. I'm tired of being used. Mama Gloria manipulated me too, no. She promised me money, said if I helped them get the house, she'd give me 2 million naira. I was desperate, broke, and I thought you'd be fine. You always landed on your feet. So you sold me out for 2 million naira? I never got it, she said bitterly. After you kicked them out, Mama Gloria blamed me, said it was my fault for not pushing hard enough. She hasn't given me a single kobo, and now she's dying. And Cheeky doesn't even know the truth about who she really is. Does Cheeky know? About the lawsuit? Yes. He's desperate. Living in a one room with a woman who's not even his real mother. Working as an Uber driver. He wants his old life back. And he thinks destroying you is the only way. I stood up. Thank you for the warning, I said coldly. But I can handle Cheeky and his fake mother. No, wait. We're not family anymore, Chiamaka. You made your choice. Live with it. I walked out of the cafe, leaving her sitting there alone. That night, I made a call. Barrister Adebayo, I need your help again. No? What's wrong? Cheek is planning to sue me, trying to claim the Lecky house should be joint property. On what grounds? He's going to say I coerced him into signing the prenup. The lawyer was quiet for a moment. That's a weak case. But in Nigerian courts, anything can happen, especially if the judge is sympathetic or if Chike's lawyer knows the right people. Then we need to strike first. What do you have in mind? I told him everything Chiamaka had revealed. The fake motherhood, the hidden property, the forged signatures. Barrister Adebayo whistled. No, this is fraud. Serious fraud. If you can prove it, Mama Gloria could go to jail. Can we? If you have the documents, yes. Birth certificates, property deeds, rent receipts, anything that proves she's been collecting money on a property she has no legal right to. I'll get them. No, the lawyer said carefully. Are you sure you want to do this? This could get very ugly. I thought about Cheek's face when he threw me out in the rain, about Chiamaka's betrayal, about Mama Gloria sitting in my kitchen, sipping tea while her son destroyed my life. I'm sure, I said. End of chapter 4. Emotional trigger, shock, intrigue, and the realization that the betrayal runs even deeper than anyone imagined. What happens next? The final confrontation, where all the lies unravel, and Ngozi delivers the ultimate blow that no one saw coming. 3 weeks later, Lagos High Court. The courtroom was packed. On one side, Chike and Mama Gloria, dressed in their Sunday best, sitting with their lawyer, a thin man with sharp eyes named Barrister Okonkwo, no relation. On my side, Barrister Adebayo, calm and collected in his black suit, and me, wearing a navy blue dress, and my hair pulled back, my face unreadable. Cheek wouldn't look at me. Mama Gloria stared straight ahead, her jaw set. The judge, Justice Adeleke, a stern woman in her 60s, sat behind the bench, reading through the case files. Mrs. Okafor, she said without looking up, you're being sued for 35 million naira in damages and half ownership of a property in Lekki Phase 1. How do you plead? Not guilty, Your Honor, I said clearly. Mr. Okonkwo, the judge turned to Chike. You claim that your ex-wife coerced you into signing a prenuptial agreement that left you with nothing after the marriage dissolved. Is that correct? Chike stood. Yes, Your Honor. I was young, in love. She pressured me, said if I didn't sign, we couldn't get married. I didn't understand what I was signing. And yet you remained married for 12 years, Justice Adeleke said dryly. When did you realize this coercion? When she kicked me out, Your Honor. She froze my accounts, took everything, left me homeless. The judge looked at me. Mrs. Okafor, is this true? Barrister Adebayo stood. Your Honor, if I may. The property in question was purchased solely by Mrs. Okafor with her own funds, before the marriage. Mr. Okonkwo contributed no financial investment toward the property. He also failed to pay rent or utilities during his occupancy. Under Nigerian law, he has no legal claim to the property. That's not true, Mama Gloria suddenly shouted, standing up. My son worked hard. He supported that woman. She's a liar. Order! Justice Adeleke slammed her gavel. Madam, sit down, or I will have you removed from this courtroom. Mama Gloria sat, muttering under her breath. The judge turned to Barrister Adebayo. Counselor, do you have evidence to support your claims? Yes, Your Honor. He opened a folder. Bank statements showing that Mrs. Okafor was the sole earner in the household, property deed showing sole ownership, prenuptial agreement signed by both parties with independent legal witnesses. He handed the documents to the court clerk. Justice Adeleke reviewed them silently. Then she looked at Chike. Mr. Okonkwo, did you or did you not sign this prenuptial agreement? Yes, but... And were you represented by legal counsel when you signed it? Chike hesitated. No, but... Did you read the document before signing? Your Honor, She rushed me. That's not what I asked. Ah, did you read the document? Chica's lawyer whispered something to him. Yes, Cheek finally said. I read it. Then you understood what you were signing. Silence. The judge sighed. Mr. Okonkwo, I'm dismissing your case. You signed a legally binding agreement. You contributed nothing financially to the property. You have no grounds for this lawsuit. But Your Honor, Cheek's lawyer jumped up. There are extenuating circumstances. Sit down, counselor, Justice Adelek said sharply. Unless you have new evidence, this case is... Actually, Your Honor, Barrister Adebayo interrupted smoothly. I do have new evidence. Evidence that fundamentally changes the nature of this case. Everyone in the courtroom went still. Proceed, the judge said. Barrister Adebayo turned to Mama Gloria. Mrs. Gloria Okonkwo, is that your legal name? Mama Gloria's eyes widened. Yes. Your full legal name, as it appears on your birth certificate? She hesitated. Gloria Nwosu Okonkwo. And Mr. Chike Okonkwo is your biological son? Yes, of course. Your Honor, Barrister Adebayo said, pulling out another folder. I submit to the court the birth certificate of Chike Okonkwo, born June 15, 1997, to Patricia Okonkwo and Michael Okonkwo, both deceased. He handed the document to the clerk. Mama Gloria's face went pale. I also submit, Barrister Adebayo continued, the death certificate of Patricia Okonkwo, dated March 3, 2000, and the marriage certificate of Gloria Nwosu to Festus Nwosu, dated August 1995. No children listed from that marriage. Chike turned to Mama Gloria, confusion written all over his face. What is he talking about? It's a lie, Mama Gloria shrieked. He's lying. Your Honor, Barrister Adebayo said calmly, Mrs. Gloria Nwosu is not Mr. Chike Okonkwo's biological mother. She assumed guardianship of him after his mother's death, but has been fraudulently representing herself as his mother for over 20 years. The courtroom erupted. Chike stood frozen, staring at Mama Gloria. Is this true? Mama Gloria's mouth opened and closed. No words came out. Furthermore, Barrister Adebayo raised his voice over the noise. Mrs. Nwosu has been illegally collecting rent on a property in Ikoyi that rightfully belongs to Mr. Chike Okonkwo, a property left to him by his late father, Michael Okonkwo, in his will. Property valued at over 100 million naira. Chike's legs gave out. He sat down hard. Now, Your Honor, Barrister Adebayo placed a stack of documents on the clerk's desk. Here are the property deeds, rent receipts going back 10 years, all signed by Gloria Nwosu, all money deposited into her personal account. None of it disclosed to Mr. Okonkwo. Justice Adelek's face darkened. Mrs. Nwosu, is this true? Mama Gloria stood, shaking. I raised him. I fed him, clothed him. That money was mine. I earned it. The property was not yours to profit from, the judge said icily. You've committed fraud, forgery, and theft. Court bailiff, take her into custody pending investigation. Two uniformed men moved toward Mama Gloria. She screamed, backing away. No, no, I did everything for him. Everything. He owes me. They grabbed her arms. Chike, she wailed. Chike, tell them I'm your mother. Chike sat there, the tears streaming down his face, saying nothing. They led her out, still screaming. The judge turned to Chike. Mr. Okonkwo, I'm ordering a full audit of the property in question. Any money illegally collected will be returned to you, minus legal fees and penalties. Your lawsuit against Mrs. Okafor is dismissed. Court is adjourned. The gavel slammed. I stood and walked out of the courtroom without looking back. Outside, Barrister Adebayo was grinning. No, that was beautiful. We destroyed them. It wasn't about destroying them, I said quietly. It was about the truth. He nodded. The police will handle Mama Gloria's case now. She's looking at serious jail time. Good. And Chike? I glanced back at the courthouse. Through the glass doors, I could see Chica sitting alone on a bench, head in his hands. He's not my problem anymore, I said, 3 months later. Mama Gloria was sentenced to 5 years in Kirikiri prison for fraud and forgery. She died 4 months into her sentence. Liver disease, just like Chiamaka had said. No one attended her funeral except a social worker from the prison. Chike inherited the Ikoyi property. After legal fees and back taxes, he got about 80 million naira, enough to start over. He called me once. Just once. No, I'm sorry for everything. I didn't know. About Mama, about the property, about any of it. She manipulated both of us. I know, I said. But that doesn't change what you did. You still chose greed over love. You still threw me out in the rain. I know, and I'll regret it for the rest of my life. Good, I said. Use that regret to be better. For the next woman. For yourself. Will you ever forgive me? I thought about it. Really thought about it. Maybe, I said. Someday, but not today. I hung up. Chiamaka reached out one last time. A letter, handwritten, delivered to my office. No, I don't expect forgiveness. I don't deserve it. But I want you to know that telling you the truth about Mama Gloria was the first honest thing I've done in years. It didn't fix what I broke between us, but it was a start. I'm working now, legitimate job, saving money, trying to be the person you raised me to be. Maybe one day I'll be worthy of being called your sister again. Until then, I'm proud of you, proud of everything you've become. Love, Chiamaka. I folded the letter and put it in a drawer. Maybe one day I'd respond. But not today. 1 year later, Emeka and I got married. A small ceremony. Just close friends, my mother, and a few trusted colleagues. No drama, no scheming relatives, no demands for houses or money. Just love. Real, honest, uncomplicated love. We honeymooned in the Maldives, overwater bungalows and sunsets that looked like paintings. On our last night, we sat on the deck, feet dangling in the water, watching the stars. Are you happy? Emeka asked. I thought about everything I'd been through, the betrayal, the pain, the fights, the courtroom, the revenge. And then I thought about everything I'd built, the business, the peace, the freedom, this moment. Yes, I said, I'm happy. And I meant it, because here's what I learned. Revenge isn't about destroying the people who hurt you. Real revenge is healing. It's taking back your power. It's building a life so good, so peaceful, so full of real love that the people who betrayed you become irrelevant. Chike didn't take anything from me except time, and I got that back by refusing to waste another second on bitterness. Chiamaka didn't destroy me. She showed me who I could trust, and taught me that blood doesn't always mean family. And Mama Gloria? She died in prison, alone, having lost everything. I didn't put her there. Her own greed did. So that's the story. I didn't leave my husband in the rain. I just finally stepped out of the storm he'd been creating and built myself a shelter made of truth, justice, and self-respect. If this story hit you, drop a like. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. Comment below, what would you have done in my position? And subscribe, because there are more stories like this coming. Well, remember, never let anyone make you feel small for protecting your peace. You deserve better. Always. The end. So what did you think? Did Ngozi do the right thing? Was her revenge justified, or should she have handled it differently? I want to hear your opinion in the comments below. And here's a question for you. If you discovered that someone close to you, your partner, your family member, had been lying to you for years, would you expose them publicly or handle it privately? Let me know what you'd do. If this story moved you, inspired you, or made you think twice about who you trust, please hit that like button. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it, someone who's going through something similar, someone who needs to know that they can rebuild after betrayal. And if you're not subscribed yet, subscribe now. That we share powerful stories every single week. Stories about justice, revenge, redemption, and real people who refuse to stay victims. Hit that notification bell so you never miss a story. Because trust me, the next one is even more intense. Remember, never let anyone make you feel small for protecting your peace. You deserve better, always. See you in the next story. Core message. True strength isn't about revenge. It's about protecting your peace, knowing your worth, and building a life so good that the people who hurt you become irrelevant. Question to our viewers. Team Ngozi or Team Chike? I'd drop your vote below. Would you have given them a second chance or cut them off completely? What's the worst betrayal you've ever experienced from family? At what point did you realize Mama Gloria was the real villain? Should Ngozi forgive Chiamaka? Yes or no? And why? Comment below.